Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing some Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Rob, I have put Humility in a deck. That was the request, just play Humility, beginning and end of suggestion. And I did this in a shell that I've played on the channel before, which is Shorakai Genesis Engine with Staff of the Storyteller. These are all cards that work pretty well under Humility. But there was something else I wanted to try too. Nobody asked me to do this, but I want to do it. Council's Deliberation. New card from Lord of the Rings, 1 and a blue instant draw card. Whenever you scry, if you control an island, you may exile Council's Deliberation from your graveyard. If you do, draw a card. Kind of bad card draw on the front, but then free card draw on the back, as long as your deck scries even a little bit. And to support Council's Deliberation, I've done one normal thing and one heinous thing. The normal thing is for Preordain. This card's perfectly playable, pretty close to Ponder on power level, banned in Modern, too good there. Usually doesn't get a nod in Legacy decks, because Ponder is better than this. You see more cards, you have higher velocity, you get to keep one-landers a little stronger on the one-lander keep kind of thing. Digs deeper when you're digging for something, etc., etc. But Preordain's pretty close. And if I get to scry 2, draw a card, and then also draw another card, that breaks the tie, and Preordain is now better than Ponder. Which you'll notice, Ponder not appearing in this deck. It was a tough cut, but at some point I had to make sense of the spells that are actually in the deck, and Ponder was the one that had to go in service of trying Council's Deliberation with Preordain. The less defensible thing I've done with the deck is Elminster. This is not a commander planeswalker. I don't think it's from a commander set, but it can be your commander. I guess Baldur's Gate was just a commander legend set, so sure. It was not a commander supplemental product, but it was the commander legend set. Okay. I figured out what this card is. 3 blue-white legendary planeswalker, Elminster. 5 starting loyalty. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while you scried. +2, draw a card, scry 2. You'll draw a card with upside on a planeswalker is usually where you want to be in blue-white. And then -3, exile the top card of your library, create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. This deck is built with Council's Deliberation in mind, ergo scry on this planeswalker. This deck is also built with Staff of the Storyteller and Humility in mind, which plays into the -3, which makes a bunch of 1/1 tokens, which is how this deck is going to win games if it ever wins games. We got some big, heavy things to flip. Shark Typhoon is 6, Terminus is 6, Force is 5, a bunch of 4s in the deck. And you get to set it up with all your scrying, so Elminster can do stuff and actually present a win condition. You may notice that this deck is built around drawing cards and putting 1/1s into play, which is a dangerous place to be for a format that was recently inundated with Orcish Bowmaster, which kills 1/1s whenever you draw a card. I'm aware of that, and that's certainly a weak spot. Humility does have the added text of turning Orcish Bowmasters into a 1/1 flash. Dress Down is a tool to fight against it. I'm also trying kind of a sampler platter of both old blue-white tricks and new blue-white tricks. Spell Snare, counter target spell with mana value 2. Orcish Bowmasters coming for you. And Stern Scolding, counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. This hits Bowmaster, Delver, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Most of the things in the format, really. Doesn't hit Murktide Regent, which is a problem. But I'm way less worried about that one than I am the ones that come down early and mess with me. We'll see how Stern Scolding holds up. Also 4 Plow, 2 Terminus in the deck, with a Mystic Sanctuary to rebuy removal. I'm acknowledging Bowmasters exist while also acknowledging that it's really bad for this deck. And the thing about big blue-white decks like this is that they haven't been super competitive for a while, which it hurts me to say because they did have a lot of my early success. Part of the reasons you have heard of me and watch my channel now are because I was crushing with Blue-White Miracles like 4 or 5 years ago. This is absolutely an exploration of concept, both for Rob's Humility deck and for Council's Deliberation as a draw engine in a blue-white deck. And those are the things I'm exploring. I've done my best with theory crafting, trying to solve the problems that exist, and we'll see if it works out. This is Rob's Council's Deliberation SCRY Humility. Let's do it. I'm on the play in round 1 versus a Yorion. I'm going to keep this hand that has my 1 of Humility, which is probably good against the average Yorion deck. And I have Preordain and a pair of Council's Deliberations. I'm going to save this Preordain. And I'm going to be deliberating with the Council and try to just draw 3 cards off this Preordain a few turns from now. See if we get away with that. Ooh, you're this kind of Yorion. Alright, Humility is going to be really good here if I can get to it. Oh, a Stern Scolding. Cool. I can counter a Thalia, or a Stoneforge Mystic, or any other card in this deck, because this deck is built around Recruiter of the Guard, which, by definition, anything it can tutor can also be countered with Stern Scolding. Sucks I didn't have that last turn. That would have been a beautiful curve. Schadenport, go. Okay, so I'm going to deliberate with the Council. And I'm actually just going to fetch a second island here. I want to play around Wasteland while also... Oh wait, I can just deliberate again in response to port. I don't care. Yeah, I'm going to get my mana right. Council's Deliberation. Brainstorm in the hand now. Coming after my blue. I'm going to deliberate again. Oh my god, we're doing it. I'm going to cast the old draw 3 Ordain. Grab an island, Preordain, and let's do it. A white source and a Swords to Plowshares. Plow not so helpful here. I will take the Caracas though. And then I also get to draw 2 cards. Do I want them both is the question, because I will have to go to cleanup and discard one. I think I'm going to save one for later. Alright. Show some restraint here. Vial, that's going to resolve. And they're passing with Rashad board up again. Really just working my way to this Humility. Tapping my white, that's fine. By that's fine, I mean nothing I can do about it. There's a Terminus, I like that card. And I'll get a Staff of the Storyteller in. I am exposed to Wasteland here, but that's fine. It's eventually going to get something, and I'm already under port. I can't just not play lands. A second Rashad port, gross. Alright, let's see where they want to point this thing. Going after my white, I'll draw a card with that white, and they're porting my Caracas. Okay. I could try to fight over Mother of Runes here, but I don't think I care about Mother of Runes. No, I'm just going to let that get tapped and draw a card. Counter spell. Time to brainstorm, move some cards around. Lots of lands here. I'm going to put this Swords to Plowshares. Or I have to decide where I want this Terminus, if I want this Terminus. I'm going to float it 2 down. No, I'll... Oh, this is tough. I'm going to float it 2 down and try to map out a big Terminus turn in the future. My neighbor is doing something loud with power tools right now, and normally I would just stop recording until they're done, but I'm in the middle of death and taxes and every second's going to matter, so sorry if you can hear this. Caracas from my opponent. Porting my Caracas, I'll float white. Float another white. Not that it matters. This is why I put the Terminus 2 down, because I wanted to work through this. Thought it was unlikely this would work this turn. And just Terminusing my 1 creature and your 1 creature seems pretty loose. And next turn I can Humility through the double port. It's good stuff. I can decide next turn if Humility or Terminus makes more sense. Cycling Timeless Dragon, go for it. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna decline Terminus and just shove Humility. And I can draw cards with any white sources they try to port. Okay, they pivoted onto blue. That makes sense. They realize I can just cash out anyway. Still gonna go poorly, but I'm in for it. Don't reveal that Terminus. And bam, Humility. And Death and Taxes beat this in their main deck. They're vialing in response. Flicker Wisp. Just deleting a token. Makes sense. Better start getting rid of them, because all we're doing is counting permanents at this point. Cool. Alright, that's in there. Swords to Plowshares is on. If I care, I can also Sternly Scold a creature if one comes in, and I can start drawing cards with a Tundra. I'm going to trade with Mother of Runes here. They're all 1/1s for now, but just in case they can remove Humility, I care more about Mother of Runes than I do about Flicker Wisp. And they can still vial in 1/1s. But luckily that's all they are. Now it's time to start digging for that Elminster. Run a card in the end step, Force of Will, nice pickup. They're tapping my Tundra, I'll draw a card with Staff. Ordered an island as well. Brainstorm, make this hand good. Other Council's Deliberation. I can put Swords to Plowshares and Terminus on top. Then play a land and just pass here. I can deliberate into Terminus if they put a bunch of creatures into play. Vial's being activated. A Skyclave Apparition 1/1. Solitude getting pitch cast. Arrives as a 1/1. And they're really going for it here. This Terminus is going to sting. Council, deliberate. Real Terminus. And opponent conceded. Heck yeah. Death and Taxes was huge back in that period 4 or 5 years ago when I was crushing with Blue-White Miracles. And feels good to do this again. It feels like we're back home. Did a lot of farming of Death and Taxes with Monastery Mentor back in the day. Humility and Back to Basics, I like both here. They have all their techie lands. Serenity. Serenity is risky in my deck. I do have some quantity of artifacts and enchantments I care about. But I figure it against like Prison or 8 cast, I'm going to be totally fine with whatever deal I get out of that. And I think I can shave a Force of Will and another Force of Will. And just bring in Humility and Back to Basics. I'm not going to bring in Serenity. Okay, let's do it. A 0-lander has been presented to me. I'll be mulliganing this. A second 0-lander has been presented to me. This is what I get for not registering Ponder. That's a joke. My land count has not changed at all. Right, I'm going to keep this and put Mystic Sanctuary and Island on the bottom. This hand needs help, but like I said in the deck tech, we are card draw theme deck. Like so. Immediately Brainstorm changes the texture of everything that's going on here. Spirit of the Lab. Well, I'm going to Brainstorm in response. Council's Liberation. I still get 1 draw per turn. I could force this and just set up a grind, or I could ignore this for a little bit. Put Shark Typhoon in front of it. Okay, I'm going to put back Shark Typhoon and Counterspell in that order, and then I'm going to let them have their Spirit. If they play something, I can counterspell it. If they don't play something, I can Council's Liberation. I still get 1 draw per turn. You can get in for 3 in the meantime. Wasteland. You'll find no purchase here. Stoneforge Mystic. That one's worth a counterspell. That Wasteland's actually pretty solid. Oh god. Mother of Runes as well. Okay, I'm gonna force pitching Elminster. LOL, Elminster. Thanks for trying, big guy. Yeah, the fact that I have my Scalding Tarn and not any of the things that fetch a basic planes here is actually pretty rough with the Wasteland. I will get an island. And I'll make a 1/1 that draws a card and hopefully trades with this thing. Flicker Wisp does not have flash. They would need Swords to Plowshares or be willing to Solitude this thing. Both of which are... It's unlikely they have a lot of plows in the deck, and Solitude is kind of a big ask for that. Schadenport. Okay. Lion Sash. Bummer. Okay, here's the plan. I'm going to cast Council's Liberation and draw Preordain and Scry before they're able to exile it. Alright, Preordain off the top right now. Built. Okay, so Mystic Sanctuary on top. Put something on top. Doesn't actually do anything here. Yeah, I'm just going to play an island and be soft to this Wasteland. Neighbor's really going to town with that chainsaw, by the way. I apologize if that's being caught. Timeless Dragon Cycle. Lion Sash getting in. Exiling my land to make it extra damage. Exiling Shark Typhoon to make it extra damage. Come on, Plains. Jeez. Alright, I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary and target the Council's Deliberation. If they exile it, it's the same as me putting it on top, except it doesn't cost me 2. This was mostly just a way to hit a land drop and bait an activation. There's the Wasteland. That frees up a Tundra. That's what I was actually trying to do here in case I draw Tundra. And they bashed for 5. They have me dead on board here. Shark Typhoon, okay. We live to play another turn. They're starting to eat their own graveyard to make Lion Sash bigger. Makes sense to try to get this thing lethal this turn. I've been very clearly not doing a lot. Recycling Shark Typhoon gives me a blocker and a redraw. Preordain, okay. Council's Liberation, long gone. I would love it if they continued not adding to the board. Okay, Timeless Dragon it is. Giving up on Rashad Port for a turn. Looks like they're going to get away with it. Okay, so bottom one of these, top Flooded Strand, fetch for basic, and play Staff of the Storyteller. This can leave me alive at 2. All right, we're squeezing those little bits. A Brainstorm off the top sets up an instant speed Terminus. No, it doesn't because I'm short 1 white source for that line. Loran blows up my staff. Okay, it's looking bad. That my planes. I will not be terminusing here. Okay. Yep, Wasteland won them this game. Obviously also Mull to 5 not help, but not being able to fetch Tundra, a basic planes, and that one is laughable. I think this is still the deck I can present. Yeah, I really don't want more Force of Wills. I'll keep this hand full of cards. And I'm not going to mess around against the Spirit of the Labyrinth deck with trying to cash out this Preordain. I'm just going to Preordain now, try to get my mana and my reactive spells under me. Because that's how you lose these games. Okay, Humility is a banger. Yeah, I'm just going to top here. Counterspell and Humility in hand. Put them in the squeeze where if they do something I counter it, if they don't I draw a card. Mother of Runes is fine, I'm a deck with sweepers. Okay, here we are. Just working towards Humility. Wasteland and Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to counter Stoneforge. That out of here. Caracas. Okay. That is land number 4 for Humility. I have a 2-outer to Council's Deliberation into Terminus in this end step, in case that matters. Okay, this does not stop Council's Deliberation. And it will be Humble next time it has a chance to do anything. Council's Delib in the end step. Didn't spike the Terminus, that's okay. If I didn't already have land number 4 lined up, I would have brainstormed in response to Spirit. But now I've Humilitied them. After they've missed a land drop. They would have needed to board in something like Council's Judgment to clear a Humility. Okay, they can Wasteland and port me, and then it's my 0/1/1s versus their 2/1/1s. But the Council is ready to deliberate. I'm going to cast Deliberation with whatever land they port, and then I'm going to Preordain and draw 3 cards. Boop, boop. Council's Delib. Shorakai, hello. I can Brainstorm first here. I think I'm going to do that. A bunch of lands can go away here. I think I want to keep the plains. No, that doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm going to fetch with Misty Rainforest so I can access basic plains if I need to, and then I'm going to draw 3 Ordain. Bottom Scalding Tarn, top Staff of the Storyteller. And draw 2 more cards. Mystic Sanctuary, Flooded Strand. Okay, I can put 2 creatures, or I can put 1 creature plus Shorakai into play next turn. Yeah, Humility too good against Death and Taxes. Get out of here. On to the next round.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the play for round 2. I've taken a little break. The neighbors have put away their chainsaws in case that was going to be a disruption further. Shouldn't be a problem anymore. Keeping this hand and hoping my opponent's deck has creatures in it. I'm just going to preordain here. I'm not going to sandbag my early interaction. Oh my god. Okay, more of the same. Full house. I don't think I need a third plow, but kind of into the second staff. Anyway, finishing my thought. When I already have 2 lands and a Council's Deliberation in hand, the one preordained looks tempting to wait on, but I don't think I'm trying to wait. Just in case I find one someday. Oh god. Verdant Catacombs, Lotus Petal deck. What is this mess? I'm probably dead. My guess would be Storm. That would have Verdant Catacombs in it. Yep, that's a Dark Ritual. Please place Sholdred or Opposition Agent or something I don't care about. Thoughtseize. Well, you know the coast is clear. Guess this could just be Black Reanimator. Verdant Catacombs is certainly a fetch land that gets Badlands or a swamp. Entomb and Reanimate, and we're gonna be dead. I should have been more specific when I said I hope my opponent's deck is one with creatures. Okay, they can draw 14 here. They do have to beat this Swords to Plowshares still. I guess I'll just F6 and let them do it. They've already seen my hand. They just gotta come up with 1 Grief or 1 Reanimate. Or 1 Unmask, I mean. Or just a second monster. Remember when I bought him that 3rd Swords to Plowshares that would have been safe from discard? It doesn't matter, that's not actually how this game's gonna be won. Oh my god, I flipped a Terminus, but I don't have white. Life is pain. I guess I will simply put this Staff of the Storyteller into play. I'll concede when I'm actually dead. My deck has Karakis in it. If I can just bridge a gap up to Humility, I actually can't lose anymore. That's asking a lot against the opponent who can draw 14 cards this turn. Badlands, Lotus Petal, Faithless Looting. There's Emissary and Archon in the graveyard. I'm prepared to concede to any reanimation spell here. My goodness, they had a reanimation spell somehow in the 14 cards they've drawn. All good. We knew that hand was soft to combo and we kept it. Force of Negation, Surgical Extractions, Rest in Peace all coming in. I think I want the second Humility too. It's super slow, but it's very good at what it does. It's even better than Supreme Verdict or Terminus versus a board with 2 or 3 reanimation monsters in it. Okay, cards that are much worse. Stern Scolding. You're out. Elminster's gotta go. I think some of the plows and all of the Terminuses go. Staff of the Storyteller is really slow. I think I want to shave on that one. Council's Deliberation is not that good either. Okay, I'm gonna leave the Deliberations because they're blue. And I'll cut all these white cards. Let's try it. Cool thing about Humility is that it just dumpsters a Show and Tell juke. If I get a Humility down, then I see them sculpting towards Show and Tell. All I have to do is put a Humility in my hand and I can never lose. A Force of Negation is not enough to beat Reanimator on its own, but it's enough to maybe get me a turn. Bridge the gap into Dress Down, and then work my way up from there. Opponent kept 7. We can never win. Yep, Grief pitching Orcish Bowmasters. They even have a juke that is incredible against my deck. Couldn't force Grief even if I wanted to. Where's this turn going? Go ahead, just turn 1 me twice. Took Staff of the Storyteller. Wild. They must be on some sort of pivot here. Yeah, all I can do is play my land and pass. Slightly surprised we didn't die immediately, but getting away with it. This looks like an opponent who's holding up a Bowmaster. They're fetching in the end step. Swamp, swamp. It is, in fact, a Bowmaster. I'm going to Dress Down in response. I'm going to get an Island and a Tundra. I know I have 2 Tundras, but I could just fetch the other one, and I want to leave myself with some options here. Dress this down. Do I want to counter this thing? I don't think so. Kind of risky that I boarded out as many removal spells as I did. Bowmaster's straight hard counter Shorakai. That's tough. Pretty good against Shark Typhoon where X equals 1 also. Very much like a land here. Oh god. Well, maybe I should have countered that thing. We're all learning together. But gotta lose to Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, so Shark Typhoon, when you cycle Shark Typhoon, make an XX. I cannot stack these triggers in any way that would make sense. You have to make the shark before you draw the card. If I could stack them the other way, that would have been a fine deal. Healthy Voidwalker. Okay, well, just take my medicine here, I guess. Council's Deliberation. It's just getting better. Is Shorakai helpful? Put back Deliberation. Put back... Or I can pitch Deliberation to Force, that's fine. Put back Shorakai and Island. And then Force of Will, the Voidwalker. At Reanimator, it's been pivoting onto Voidwalker for a while, and now having Bowmaster 2, they just have multiple threats to become black midrange with. That's pretty scary, actually. I don't care for it. Now they have a 3/3 army that's big enough to beat a Shark Typhoon. They don't even need to ambush or worry about... Like, they can keep pressuring me without turning their Bowmaster sideways. I feel like something of a fool for cutting 2 Swords to Plowshares. Reanimate targeting Voidwalker. I don't think I can beat that. Okay, I guess I'll force it. Yeah, they got me with a juke. I've left in a couple plows, just hadn't adjusted to this full Voidwalker, Bowmaster, Grief midrange deck that they've become. This is not something that'll continue happening for weeks on end. This is very much like a, oh yeah, Orcish Bowmaster is right. I'm recording this much earlier than you're seeing it, and we're still getting used to the effect of various cards on the format. Okay, the Bowmaster is sideways. Do they have Opposition Agent 2? I'm prepared to concede immediately. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Shut me down. Okay. Alright, yep. I wonder if they even had a Grizzlebrand in their deck in Game 2 anymore, or if they're just completely black midrange. This sort of deck, I think I'm actually pretty good against, but I'm not good against this sort of deck when I sideboard out Plow, Terminus, and Stern Scolding, all of which would have been great here. Well played, opponent. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
On the play in round 3, I'm going to keep this hand, Island Preordain keep. And I am going to preordain. I'm looking for a staff or some sort of action. I'll keep land number 4. The preordain was 2 lands, Tundra to the bottom, basic island, or proxy basic island to the hand. This gives me 4 lands, locks in the Shark Typhoon for 2, locks in the Wandering Emperor, and now I can start looking for other stuff. Land go for my opponent, land go for me. Okay, basic land's going nuts here. I'm going to cycle a Shark Typhoon for 1 and just try to get something going here. Uh-oh, here comes Bowmasters. And if I Shark Typhoon first, they ping it with the ETB. If I Shark Typhoon second, they ping it with the draw. Wow, Shark Typhoon lines up poorly against this card. Alright, hate this for me, but I'm going to have to force a will. I'm going to learn my lesson from last game. Jeez, they forced me back. Pitching days. Okay, that sucks. You have an Orcish Bowmaster. Next turn, Wandering Emperor is live, and Shark Typhoon, big enough to block, is live. It ends up being a trade, because they ping it for 1, and then they block with a 1/1. I'm not going to shove Wandering Emperor into days. And if they have a second Bowmaster, they just chew up the Shark Typhoon, and it doesn't even matter. The Bowmaster is attacking. I'm going to do what I can here to try to remove it from play. If they have a second one, I get blown out. Oh yeah. Send it in. Send it in. Oh, okay. It's just petty theft. That's fine. I still take 2 extra damage here. I drew another Shark Typhoon. Terminus. Dress down. Okay. All right, well, how about the Wandering Emperor right now? They would need Force Blue card as their last 2 cards to stop this from showing up. I guess Spell Pierce is a card that could be played in the format conceivably. Maybe don't have that though. Brainstorm in response. This Emperor is not even good. What are you worried about? Wow, I actually do have Force Blue card. Okay, they want Hellbent to do that. Let's see if I can flip a Terminus now. And I have Dress Down that can put Bowmaster to sleep for a turn if I need to spend a turn cantripping, though I'm not going to get another turn. Yeah, I have the Terminus now. Lightning Bolt. Okay, I'm at 1. Okay, I can't draw cards or play cards or fetch. And all I can do here is pass and Dress Down in their upkeep and hope it hits Terminus. Brazen Borrower. Yeah, the Terminus wouldn't have even worked on that at that spot. Okay, here we go. Dress Down, flip Terminus. No love, just Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Absolutely kicked into crap by Orcish Bowmaster. Once again. I feel like that's going to be a story for this league. I have the Spell Snares and Stern Scoldings in. I have Swords to Plowshares in. I have more good answers to this thing than they have copies of this thing. But the problem is you can't cantrip for them the way you'd like to because of how stupid they are. It's kind of like Sholdred. When Sholdred's in play, you can't really dig for 1 or 2 copies of Plow. You need to just have it straight up or she's just going to kill you anyway. Okay, I'm going to back off Force of Wills entirely, get Flusterstorms and a Hydroblast in here alongside a bonus Humility. And this is how I'm playing this. Okay, I'll keep this hand. Got the Humility in it. I know what I'm up against now, so Preordain can look specifically for answers to Orcish Bowmaster. The second Humility is probably not it. And I am going to send land number 4 and just try to have faith in my deck to provide. Scalding Tarn. Underground Sea. Ponder. All good cards. I've seen Daze in their deck, but if they Daze me, it's another turn they can't play Bowmaster. Staff of the Storyteller. And there's a Daze. That's also a Daze they don't have for Humility. When your 2-mana spell can play bait for your 4-mana spell. I don't mind that. They switched to red after playing the Underground Sea. And I'm going to pass the turn here. Underground Sea and Call of the Ring. Okay. The ring tempts them at the beginning of their upkeep. I played with this card the other day. I thought it was bad. We'll see if that's still true here. Stern Scolding. Interesting. I think I'm just going to shove here. Thinking about Daze, thinking about Force, thinking about how it's not getting better. And if this goes in, it's just unremovable. They have Brazen Borrower, and that's about it. Force of Will pitching Brainstorm is the response to Humility. That's fine. I'll take a Hymn to Turok. Oof. Yeah, I guess flashing in response to this ability does work. Yep, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty sick. I'm going to Swords to Plowshares Bowmasters. Then I'm going to cast Preordain. Do I want lands? And Elminster's here. Is that even good? Yeah, I'll take land number 5. Now their ring loots. And they can pay 2 life, draw a card. Yeah, I needed to leave up Stern Scolding. It did not occur to me that you could flash in response to this thing's trigger and immediately make a Ring Bearer. I do have Caracas in my deck, and the Ring Bearers are a legend. Murktide Regent, I'm going to dress that down, but they were showing Pyroblast on turn 2. I assume they still have it now. Yep, gonna need a Terminus. They can draw and discard because their looter is looting. How about that Terminus deck? Not a Terminus. I guess I can play Elminster here, get it Pyroblasted, and then be dead. Okay, draw a card and scry 2. We're doing it. Staff of the Storyteller's here. Elminster is probably dead next turn. I'm gonna bottom Scalding Tarn, top Shark Typhoon. No, I literally just need Terminus to win this game, and I'm gonna bottom everything that's not that. Lessons that are being learned here: when you're these blue-white decks, you have a bunch of conditional stuff like Stern Scolding and Dress Down, and these things that are sometimes helpful and sometimes not. And oh, they left Elminster in play. Okay. And you need to know exactly what every deck does and how to counteract each of them. And last round, I did not account for the opponent's full juke into black midrange. And then this round, I just misinterpreted how Call of the Ring works. It's drawn 3 cards already, where it could have drawn 0 otherwise, if I just held up Stern Scolding. Terminus. Wandering Emperor. Still like that one. Okay, Wandering Emperor, get in. Exile Murktide Regent. Going after the Ring Bearer doesn't matter, because they can just make a new Ring Bearer when the ring tempts them. Brainstorm in response to my staff. Just trying to dump out my resources here and play this game. My opponent's drawing 2 cards a turn, and I'm not. It's like they have the Monarch. I played Call of the Ring in Grixis Bowmasters last week on the channel, or a couple days ago, whenever I end up releasing this, and it never did this. But this is quite good. Pyroblast on top of the deck, okay. Now when their Ring Bearer hits me, I lose 3 life. That's awfully good. They are attacking with their 1/1 army. I'll be pretty happy to trade off with that. It's all attacking Wandering Emperor, that makes sense. Block the army. Like another Murktide coming. I have 2 shots at Terminus here. Draw step, and then I can activate Staff on their turn. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, Terminus. It's time. Flip it. Flip it. Did I know that was there? I feel like I just saw that. Thought I sent it at the bottom with Elminster. Well, I can't really play that card. I guess I'm going to pass and then activate Staff on their turn. Activate Staff now before they have a Ring Bearer. Brainstorming in response. Fetching in response. Brainstorm is the card that I found. Now Dragon's Rage Channeler is the Ring Bearer. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's a lot of damage. Thoughtseize, huh? Alright, well, I'll Brainstorm in response. They're tapped out of black right now, looking for some Swords to Plowshares. Right, they still had this Pyroblast. That still works. And I guess I'm just F6ing from here. They get to loot. Yeah, this Stern Scolding could have countered that first Bowmaster, and then this whole game is completely different. I got just really excited about shoving Humility, and maybe that just didn't make sense. Okay, flip Terminus right now. It's not a miracle. GG. Absolutely pummeled by Call of the Ring, a card that I said did not impress me when it was first cast in this game, but it won this game by itself. Well done. On to the next one.
The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe.
On the draw in round 3, I'm going to keep this in. If this league feels painful to watch, that's because it is. It's painful to play too. And these are the pains of learning how a new card has fully impacted the format. Like I said before, you're all seeing this 3 weeks, 2 weeks, maybe up to a month after Bowmaster's been out. Me, it's like day 5 playing against this card right now. And wow, are there lessons to learn. The good news is, this hand's shaping up pretty well. Rip the Plow off the top to deal with Noble Hierarch, rip the Counterspell for something to do with 2 mana here. They appear to have some 3-drop. I wonder if it's Teferi. Yeah. Yep, sure is. I'm going to get basic Island and cast Counterspell. I can get the Tundra if I want it, and this could be a back to basics deck. Those exist. Okay, they forced me back pitching Brainstorm. I'm going to force them back. Also pitching Brainstorm. I'm going to hold on to Shorakai. I think there's still some life in that one. Another Force of Will. A Brainstorm. I'd love to find Staff of the Storyteller or get something going here. Great Shorakai in the deck for later. And I'd like to draw a land next turn, so I do want to shuffle Force of Will in the deck for later. Brainstorm works. I haven't seen any black mana yet out of my opponent. Shout out to that. Bowmaster Free Zone. This is where they fetch for a Bayou. Just Savannah. I'm going to fetch the other Tundra here. It's possible they're a Wasteland deck, but I don't think I can play around it. Preordain for a land drop. Council's Delib. Bottom Wandering Emperor, top Council's Deliberation. I'll invest in the future with that one. Bottoming Council's Deliberation is the same as drawing Council's Deliberation, except I don't get the layaway plan. Alright, and Council's Deliberation is a blue card for Teferi. Send that one out of here. Still have hope for Spell Snare. Someday. I'm not going to Brainstorm. I'm going to Shark Typhoon for 1 this turn. Save Brainstorm for later. There's a Brainstorm for you. This game is pretty low resource, even though we've all done and seen a lot of cards. So they missed a land drop and only have 1 blue source. Shark Typhoon, begin the beats. Elminster, just what I want when I have 3 lands in play. I am going to Brainstorm now. Elminster, I can either plan for that or just get rid of it. That's pretty exciting. Put back land. I'm going to put back Elminster and land. And I'm holding Council's Liberation, Preordained, Spell Snare. I could just draw 3 cards now, or I could hold up Spell Snare, draw a card, and play to Elminster. I'm going to try that, actually. That sounds great. This looks like a game where Elminster would actually take over. No Bowmaster's in sight, no red mana in sight. Another Teferi is in sight, though. I guess I will Council's Deliberation in response. And Teferi's going to resolve. It's a lot of Teferis in this deck. I'm wondering if this is a Turbo Days Undoing Narset pile. Whatever it is, I'm going to shove Elminster into play. Well, 5 mana spell here. And we're in. I'm going to draw a card, then I'm going to scry 2, then I'm going to draw another card. Terminus is in my hand now. Bottom Flooded Strand, top Shorakai. And then my Council's Deliberation triggers, and I draw the Shorakai. Shorakai, I haven't mentioned this, but I was aware of it when I built the deck. You can loot away Council's Deliberations with Shorakai, and then you get to basically free cards. They found their land drop. I mean, I can preordain, see what happens. I think I'm going to start with preordain, because if I can do a big Elminster, that would actually be sweet. Like that. Okay, top, bottom. Don't you draw a card, then scry 2? Oh, this isn't Elminster, right. That was preordain. Whoops. I meant to put Shark Typhoon on top. I thought I was resolving Elminster. It's all good. Okay, now I will Elminster, because I don't know what my top card is, and I'd like to hit a land. Force Will on top. Not helpful for a very long time here. Bottom that. I will take the island, though. My next instant or sorcery costs 4 less, but I don't really have any of those. Wandering Emperor. This thing pressures Teferi. I'm going for it. Spell Pierce, gross. Okay, pass the turn. Fairies up to 3. Delighted Halflings in play. I have answers to that. Okay, I'm gonna plus Elminster. Bottom both of these lands. My next instant or sorcery costs X less. Plow is reduced by 2. Got him. And I think Shark Typhoon is better here than Shorakai. They probably just have Swords of Plowshares or Prismatic Ending in their hand by now. They got to start pressuring Teferi. Terminus does not work here. They've been very good at drawing these Terminuses. Back to Teferi Time Raveler. Swords of Plowshares, you got it. And play my land. I guess Elminster first. Okay, Shark Typhoon Preordain on top of my deck. Top. Leave them both there. Gonna play Shorakai and hope it resolves. This is what I need in my life. Teferi can minus it, but I can make a pilot in response and pressure Teferi. And it resolved. Fang Coatl, sure. Boy, I'd love to cast a Spell Snare in my hand. Illegal. Burrow, that's a powerful spell. And reducing Terminus costs by 2 to 4 is actually huge. If they have enough creatures in play to be worth doing. Extremely interested in a Brainstorm so I can turn Terminus into 6 dragons. Okay, they are bouncing Shorakai. I'm going to activate in response, obviously. This Flooded Strand. Okay, I'm going to put discard Terminus, and then I can Flooded Strand, Mystic Sanctuary, activate Elminster, make dragons. And that's pretty cool. Who knows if it's good, but it's cool. This Teferi is really messing with my plan of how my deck is supposed to work. I'm going to start with Preordain. I would really like to just attack this Teferi. Bottom both of these things. Next spell costs less. Did find a Brainstorm. I've been looking for one of those. Brainstorm. There's 2 plows and a Humility. Terminus. Okay, so if I put Shorakai on top with Terminus on top of that, Swords to Plowshares, your Ice Fang Coatl. Try to clear Teferi here. They could play another Coatl or just some removal spell, but I want all this to happen first. Back to Teferi. Another Coatl. I'm surprised. Okay, we've traded off those resources, and then I'm going to Elminster to make 6 dragons. Get rid of Terminus. Dragons are in, and I think it's a good time to cast Humility as well. This makes Uro awful. Nice. Okay. The hooks are in. They would need a Supreme Verdict to reasonably stabilize this. Shorakai's on top of my deck. I do want that. And I will go to combat. I'm going to send 4 of these at Teferi. No, I'll make it 5. 5 of them at Teferi. That's enough that any reasonable number of removal or creature spells aren't going to work, and they have to sweep these. Oh, black in the deck, okay. Traxa, likely to occur this game. This looks like a Terminus, though. Oh, we're removing my Humility. Interesting. I guess just doing it while I can. Yeah, that's fair. I would have definitely countered it any later time than that. Okay, now I have stuff going on in my life. I'm going to play the Shorakai. And I'm going to plus Elminster. Dress down and Staff of the Storyteller. I'm going to bottom Staff. I think we're past that. And I'm going to put Dress down on top. And Council's Deliberation costs 1 less. Cool. Get paid. Alright, Dress down's in my hand. I just want them to not get a trigger from Uro before I plow it, and it's gone forever. 3 Teferis in the graveyard. Don't know how many they could possibly play. The answer is 4. It's literally 4. Answered my own question. Okay, dress down this Uro. There was already a dress down in my hand. I've lost track of everything. I'm drawing so many cards and having such a good time. And the option to make 6 more dragons with Mystic Sanctuary remains just available to me whenever I want. I don't want to activate Shorakai here. I'm actually kind of worried about decking. Oh, is Karakas better than Swords to Plowshares? I actually don't think so. This Uro looping and looping is a problem. And Staff of the Storyteller. Is that what I want to do, or do I want to Shark Typhoon? Alright, I'm going to Staff. And I'll begin the beatdowns. Deck with 6 fairy dragons. And I'm actually going to do the Elminster thing now, and just hope they don't have a sweeper that I can't counter. Mystic Sanctuary, rebuy Terminus. Yes, put that on top. Elminster, eat it. Ka-chow. Something I want to point out, Staff of the Storyteller only got 1 token for making 6 dragons there. That's because it's whenever you create 1 or more tokens And I created one or more tokens one time, even though there are 6 of them. Wasting my Caracas makes sense. I don't really want to keep drawing cards here. I mean, 15 is plenty to win the game with, I think. I'm going to dress down this Uro again. Or I could just force a Willy Uro. But if they force back, that's a really annoying thing to deal with. Sure, dress down. Have the Storyteller. Remember that thing I said about not drawing more cards? I lied. I'm going all the way in. At least until this Uro's answered. Discard Island. Okay. Got a lot going on here. I am going to start with a Preordain. I know hard casting Shark Typhoon is there. I don't want to do it. Okay, Council's Deliberation triggers. Yes, draw a card. Yikes. Okay. I can draw a card with Staff still. What am I even looking for? Have I used all my plows? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Alright. I'm just going to have to outmuscle Uro the old-fashioned way. Jorakai is an 8-power creature. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think that's better. There is one... Nope, the island's in my graveyard. There are no lands left in my deck. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna Element Stir Blind and just hope it hits a spell. Cool. Council's Liberation in exile. And I am going in with all of my tokens. I think this is the win condition now, and... Alright, changed my mind. I am going to cast Shark Typhoon. The rare moment. You got me to do it. With 2 Force of Wills in my hand and running out of cards in my deck, this is the exact type of situation where it's time to go for that. And I'll block with one of my fairies. This looks like a Traxa, yep. A Force, pitching, Spell Snare, make a 5/5. Sweet, okay. Elminster, coast to coast. That thing was in play for like 9 turns. Sick. I am against an Uro strategy. I think I want Surgical just to answer Uro at some point. They have enough basics to support Ice Fang Waddle, but I still think back to basics is worse for them than it is for me. Humility seems excellent. The spell snares actually seem pretty bad. I saw Ice Fang Waddle and no other spells that this counters. It was rotting in my hand with open mana for basically the whole game. I think I'm going to cut a Council's Deliberation as well. We were very close to decking that game, which is not a way that I want to lose a control mirror. That's how I want to beat Delver decks, not lose control mirrors. Island, Preordain, Keep. Thunder from my opponent. We've seen Spell Snare or Spell Pierce in their deck. Not going to play around it. Can't play around it. I don't care. Go ahead. I'll just Preordain again next turn. Bottom both of these non-lands. Found a land. Hate sending good cards to the bottom, but, you know, you got to play the game first. Ice Fang Waddle. They saw Spell Snare last game. I pitched it to Force, and so now they're main phasing Waddles. Right. And now I'll do the old Counterspell or Council's Deliberation trick. Begin the parade of Teferis. They play 7 of them. Okay, I'm not going to counterspell that one. Attack for 2. And I'm going to deliberate with my Council in the end step. Oh my god, a Dryad Arbor. Come on, Terminus. Not now. Next. In my draw step, please. Draw step, Terminus. Built. If I play Tundra and Preordain. Preordain does draw a bunch of extra cards here. Bottom, top, and do I want to go to discard? No. I'm just going to leave that in the graveyard for when I need a refill. An Uro on the stack, not going to counter the front of that. Missed the Uro land drop after playing Dryad Arbor as their land last turn. This is an opponent who does not have lands. I will counterspell this Brainstorm. They seem to be struggling, and I want to keep them struggling. The fact that 2 of their creatures are tied, or 2 of their mana sources are tied up in creatures against my deck with Terminus in it, like, please. I'd love to leverage that right now. Terminus, Terminus. Council's Delib. Staff of the Storyteller. I'm going to fetch a Basic Plains to do this with. Basic Plains, and do I Preordain first? Or I could just Wandering Emperor, exile one of these creatures. No. I'm going to preordain first. A removal spell is still good here. Humility is solid. Bottom top, I'll keep that around. And I would like to draw the bonus card this time. Just invest in the success. And Staff of the Storyteller, get in there. And that's my redraw. I don't have to cast Preordain. Prismatic Ending. Okay, I'll draw a card in response. That's fair. That's a 2-drop. That would have been a good hit for Spell Snare. Delighted Halfling. Okay. Ice Fang Quaddle attacking me. I'm not going to block. Terminus. Swords of Plowshares. Okay. How about land? And I have to fetch Island if I'm going to plow also this turn. These are all the white sources I have accessible right now. Humility. Okay, Swords to Plowshares, target Delightful Halfling. It doesn't matter, they're all just 1/1s at this point. But I would like that one gone. And now I gotta try to play fast. I feel like I'm ahead for the first time this game, but I am down 7 minutes on my clock. These decks are slow and frequently bad. And that's the blue-white life that you sign up for. Attacking me for 3. I can fetch another basic plains here. Do I want to Elminster? I think I do. I'm going for Big Minster. Oh, that gets spells pierced. No, I'm going to play Wandering Emperor now. I think it's less likely they'll have a counterspell now. And if I make a 1/1, I still lose the thing. So let me just actually exile a permanent now. Because my 2/2 is a 1/1, and they can just attack and kill Wandering Emperor around it, which is the same as exiling something, except I don't gain 2 life. Brainstorm Zenith for 1, resolves. Blighted Halfling, I'm going to Deliberate in the end step. Now they're tapped out of Spell Pierce. If I can protect Elminster with a Force. Oh my god. That might be even better. Preordain first. Staff the Storyteller. Bottom Surgical, top Staff. I would like to draw an extra card, yes. Swords to Plowshares. And still have my land drop. Gonna use that. Island. Back to basics. Staff of the Storyteller. Okay, now we just gotta stabilize, which I think I've just done. Sad little Dryad Arbor, still tapped. It does not have the ability to tap for mana because of Humility, but it does still count as a land. That's great. All I want in my life is BS like that. Draw with Staff. Shark Typhoon, cool. Alright, I feel like I can't lose this game, I just have to figure out how to win it. And I think Shark Typhoon is the answer to that. Uh-oh, basic land. Make a 1/1 shark because it'll be a 1/1 anyway. Charging my staff, drawing a card. I'm gonna plow Delighted Halfling. We're just counting creatures now. Jorakai Genesis Engine. I'm gonna Surgical their Uros. That's why Surgical was in the deck to begin with, and if I can see their hand and know that Elminster is gonna resolve, that's a big relief. Natural Order Prismatic Ending, Plow Teferi. Yep, we're good. Elminster, go get him. Big Busto himself. Legacy staple. I'm just going to exile a card at random and hope it's not a land. Till it was a land. Found another land. Another access to a basic. They can Prismatic Ending my staff here, or they can keep trying to work up to actually deal with back to basics. My forces are still in, right? I feel like I've seen a lot of cards without finding one. Yep, they're all here. Draw for turn. I just exiled my Mystic Sanctuary, so this Flooded Strand's not great. Elminster is going to have to do some scrying. Okay, Shark Typhoon, Staff of the Storyteller. That's good stuff. I'm going to top this, and then I draw Staff, and then I can exile Shark Typhoon. And I'm going to shove Shorakai here right now while I believe the coast to be clear. Basic Plains in the end step. Plowing a shark, that's fine. I'm not going to Shorakai because I want the sharks, or the dragons, whatever these are. Dragon Town. It's better to cast my second Staff of the Storyteller first, but I'm just trying to win the game quickly at this point. Deck. I'm under 5 minutes on my clock to their 13 minutes. Just gotta make sure I can actually close here. Just played a Flooded Strand, or a Prismatic Vista, which I don't believe has a fetchable left. I have 2 fetch lands in play. I think there's only 1 fetchable left in my deck right now. Brainstorm, that's good. And we did it. Okay, plenty of time left. Elminster actually closes the game pretty quick when he starts shitting out 6+ fairy dragons. That's sick. On to the final round. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the draw for the final round. Positive records on the line. I realized when editing last round that I said it was round 3, but it was actually round 4. So far, we are 100% win rate against decks without Orcish Bowmasters and 0% win rate against decks with Orcish Bowmasters. Let's see if that pattern holds, and if it does, I hope my opponent does not have that card. Crap. A swamp. A tough guy, huh? Feeling fancy with your swamp. Casting your busted card from the new set. Whatever. I think I do want these cards. I'm going to bottom Scalding Tarn. I'm going to top Karakas. Just having a white source that arrives in play without being threatened by opposition agent is something I'm interested in. Would rather plow a hate bear or hate piece than have to force it, which is awkward for me to say in my deck with no prismatic endings. Kind of a tough beat. Okay, if I Staff of the Storyteller here, they can Bowmaster it and just be way ahead. I'm going to make them play the first card. I got a handful of answers. I've been punished by being impatient so far, like every opportunity this league. Okay. Had the Oppo. Easy plow. Got to keep force in my hand. Urborg. Cashing in the City of Traders. Karn the Great Creator. Well, I've held jealously to this Force of Will. I think it's time to spew it, and I'm gonna hold Brainstorm in my hand rather than pitch it to Force. I would like to start turning the corner and winning now. I'll play this artifact that Karn would have turned off, and I'm gonna draw a card now before they can flash in Bowmasters and hurt me for it. Learning how to play against this card, I say, with a handful of Brainstorms. Thoughtseize. Okay, have a look. I suspect Shark Typhoon will be hitting the bin. I think if they had that card before this turn, it would have been cast. That was the draw, and they just missed a land drop. Good stuff for me. Oh, Big Daddy Elminster. I'm going to Brainstorm. If they Dark Ritual out Bowmaster, I can Brainstorm again in response. Okay, that is what's happening. They were oh, that's not what I thought was going to happen. All right, yeah, that one's actually fine. We can let that occur. And put back these 2 fetch lands that I no longer need. And then Staff of the Storyteller. Charging up both staffs, I can double block Oppo. I do need to get through these 2 fetch lands and find a removal spell, but it'll happen pretty quick. And now they're down to 1 card in hand, plus whatever they're drawing for turn after missing a land drop. Kind of like where I am. I need this Elminster to show up before they dig out of it, though. I was probably supposed to draw a card before they were representing Bowmasters. That would have been really ugly if that blew me out. Okay, activate Staff. Swords to Plowshares. We're free. Let my people go. And now I can bash. They didn't Bowmaster either of these staff activations. I don't think they have it. Oh, goodness. I'll get rid of those. And then I'll fetch in... Oh, right. They have an Urborg in play. I could have just shoved Elminster even into the Oppo. That's okay. Didn't need it. Aw, scooping before Elminster came down? No fun at all. That's alright. We'll take it. Force of Negation is something I want here. This is a matchup where we're really feeling the lack of prismatic ending in the deck. And as a 2-color deck, it's just not very good. I considered splashing into red just for a third color, even if I don't play sideboard cards. Honestly, I think if you're going to build a deck like this, it should just be Jeskai, even if it's just for Prismatic Ending and sideboard cards. I was really going for the proof of concept thing here, though. Stern Scolding seems like it would hit every creature in their deck. Spell Snare, and they're 100% have Bowmasters, right? Just, it's in the deck. I have no doubt in my mind or heart that that's true. Terminus is the Great Sweepifier. Dorikai is a 4-mana artifact versus their Karn deck. I'm a little worried about that. I don't think I want Serenity. That doesn't seem like the way to fight them. I don't want a second copy of Humility, but I do like the first one. Flusterstorm really only hits Dark Ritual and Thoughtseize. Is that enough to bring it in for? I don't think so. Definitely Shorikai out. Oh, is that even right? Maybe I should cut 2 Council's Deliberations because this is a Leyline Voidwalker deck, and 2 mana draw a card sucks. Do I want to go so low on this as to be up 2 Flusterstorms? Back to Basics could play here as well. They have a bunch of basic swamps, but they have a bunch of Ancient Tombs and Urborgs and crap too. Alright, maybe 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Back to Basics. Just give myself that tool to play out too. This is almost a hand I would keep. Gonna send it though. Okay, I'll keep this one. This does basically everything I need this deck to do. I have to decide what I'm sending to the bottom though, is really tough. The safest thing to do is bottom Staff of the Storyteller and keep these various answers in my hand. Yeah, I guess that's what I'll do. I really would like Staff of the Storyteller as an engine to get out of this once I've spent all my cards on answering their cards. It doesn't look like I'm going to get that luxury. Okay, getting my thoughts seized. I'm not going to spend 2 cards to do this. That is a non-basic for the Back to Basics that's in my deck somewhere. Look, the counter spell, okay. That means they're not planning on killing me next turn. Terminus, cool. I'm just going to fetch Tundra right now. I don't have the Back to Basics and I'd like to cast my spells. I'm not going to run into Oppo here. I'd be surprised if they're a Wasteland deck. They left me with the Force, though. Brainstorm, okay. I would like to cast this card. Oh, wait. Dark Ritual is a card in their deck. I guess I'm just going to wait. Almost got me, opponent. 4 mana suddenly. And they know I have Force still. Grief. That's pretty cool. What do I want to do about that? Don't want to force it, but it also can't really resolve. I guess I'll Brainstorm in response. Okay, if I put back... This is actually really bad. If I put back Force and Spell Snare, they know the coast is clear next turn, because I can't have a blue card either way. Yeah, I might just die to Karn next turn. I'm gonna put Terminus Force on top, and I'm gonna leave the staff in my hand, even though that's the card I want to protect. I just want them to get worried about staff and take that and leave me with the blue card for Force. If they really just do the numbers here and have a banger to play next turn, then they should just take Spell Snare and not worry about Force. Sometimes you have to hope your opponent doesn't play, in the way that you think they need to. And I don't know their hand. Maybe it's right to take staff and they don't have a Karn anyway. Okay. They were not fooled. Allow this thing. And the sad thing is that Karn turns off staff anyway, so they just don't even care. And here is my staff. They know I can't have Force and blue card in my hand right now. There he is. Grabbing an artifact. Liquid Metal Coating. Do you have an Ancient Tomb as well to really just drive it in here? Nope. Okay. Terminus, not a helpful card. In fact, the opposite. I don't think I can win this game. I have no way to remove this Karn. I can't counter the coding. Yeah, we can stop. All right, next game. Discard is the scariest thing for blue-eye control decks, always has been, and my opponent had 2 tasty discard spells when they needed them. I think I want this other Flusterstorm now as on the play as Thoughtseize insurance, and maybe Terminus is bad. That leave 1 in there to dig for, but that was a really awful card to have to deal with. On the play with no forces at all of any kind. Can I keep this hand? Are they going to go slow and respect it? I hope so. This is really good against the creature stompy part of the deck and horrendous against specifically Karn the Great Creator. Started with 7 and they have Leyline this time. I'm going to fetch a Tundra and pass the turn. Ancient Tomb, pass. Terrifying. Stern Scolding, interesting. I don't think I have the luxury of hoping that they play a creature this turn. I'm just going to play my Staff the Storyteller and hope that they don't Dark Ritual Helm me this turn. Stern Scolding counters Grief. That's pretty sick. God, it's happening. It's happening. Not quite as bad, but indirectly just as bad. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm supposed to mulligan, but they have untold numbers of Oppo agents, Gothy Voidwalkers, Bowmasters, etc., and 4 Karns. And they just happen to have 4 Karns in, or happen to have Karn immediately in all the games we played. Or in the 2 games I lost. And this is the card I lose to. It's not the creatures. Maybe they mulligan better than me. They kept 7. They just had Karn more than I had, not Karn. Okay, we've lost this game. I'll try to play it out though. Grief. Oh yeah. Scold him. We're still losing this game, but I'm counting that as moral victory. Yep, moral victory on my way to actual defeat. Blowing up my Tundra. What even is my out here? I think I have literally nothing. Yep, no Prismatic Ending, no Brazen Borrower, no Disenchant. I didn't board in the Serenities. Yeah, I actually cannot get ahead of the Karn and win this game. GG, opponent. Okay, so we lost to every black deck and we beat every non-black deck. At least one of the losses, the Grixis one, was about, well, at least there's lessons to learn here. The Reanimator loss, I did not respect their juke hard enough. I left a few plows in and some removal, and what if they have Gothy Voidwalker or whatever, but then they also just have a playset of Bowmasters and Oppo Agent. That juke is deeper than I expected, and most of my tools to deal with it were not in the deck anymore. Noted. I made a stumble in the Grixis deck. I went for a game-ending spell against an opponent who had 6 cards in their hand and very likely could have Force of Will, and I had no protection. And then they flashed in a threat and got their draw engine online, when I could have just held up Stern Scolding and not dealt with any of that. And above all of this, I mean, the Council's Deliberation was insane. Honestly, you just cast 1 or 2 of these, and then at some point you cast a Preordain, and multiple times I declined the trigger because I already had 7 cards in hand, and then you just bank it for later. This is pretty dope. I don't know. I was about to say I don't know what you cut to keep Ponder in your deck, but that's not true. You cut all this nonsense that I tried for fun. Like, Humility won every game it resolved easily, so Rob, shout out to that. We did the thing with Humility. Shorakai's a goof. Elminster is a goof. Counterspell can be a goof. Stern Scolding, Spell Snare. You can rebalance the flex slots in the goofy cards to just have a ton of cantrips. Or maybe it's right to play without Ponder, as much as I hate that. But Council's Deliberation, Preordain, Brainstorm is already 12 slots for cantrips in the deck. And the real thing that this deck was missing was red sideboard cards and access to Prismatic Ending. That's how I would immediately improve this deck. If you're looking for a Jeskai deck with Council's Deliberation in it, I would immediately add red and cut the goofy cards. But as far as Humility Shorakai control goes, I think we did some stuff. Elminster was a delight. Shorakai came up a couple times and it was okay. Humility won every game it was cast, or every game it resolved. And we snared 0 spells across 5 games. Noted. We did get to Sternly Scold a Grief in the last round. These didn't really come up the way I thought they were, or thought they would. Kind of disappointed, but more reps are needed. And maybe if you're playing stuff like Spell Snare and Scolding, the dress downs are the slot that you lose to play soft counters like this. A lot of tuning for this, knowing what your expected meta matters. There's not going to be a, air quotes, correct 75 for whatever this is, it's going to be whatever, it's going to be correct for the room on that day, correct for this league right now. There is no perfect 75. You got to adjust to what you're going to think you're going to play against. Rob, thank you for this invitation. I always like going down the deep, stupid, blue-white, insano hole. And the league was a lot of fun. Even if it was a negative result, we got to do a lot of things and learn some lessons and continue to learn respect for Orcish Bowmaster. Yikes. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon, and I will see you for the next one.